Welcome to the Best English Podcast. I'm Sophia, and today we have an exciting episode that will help you improve your fluency in English. Have you ever found yourself stuck while speaking, thinking too much in your native language before you speak in English? Or maybe you've been translating words in your head, but it slows you down. Today, we're going to work on something that can truly change the way you speak English. Stop translating and start speaking. This episode 20 is perfect for anyone who wants to become more fluent by thinking directly in English. By the end of this episode, you'll see how listening to real-life stories and examples can not only help your listening skills, but also improve your speaking and writing abilities. So, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, as we upload new videos regularly to help you improve your English every day. Let me start with a quick question for you. Do you feel like you're translating everything when you speak English? I know a lot of learners face this issue. For example, my friend Sarah, who is from Spain, told me that when she first started learning English, she would think of a sentence in Spanish and then try to translate it into English. It made her nervous and slower when speaking. But one day, Sarah had a conversation with her husband, and instead of translating in her head, she just started speaking naturally. She said that it felt much easier and more natural. It's a big step, and it's something we're going to focus on today. Imagine this. You're in a coffee shop and you meet someone new. They ask you what you like to do in your free time. If you were to translate everything in your head, you'd probably end up hesitating and feeling unsure. But if you start thinking in English, you'll be able to answer confidently without stopping to translate. You might say, "I love hiking, especially in the mountains. I enjoy being surrounded by nature." It's simple, right? That's the magic of thinking directly in English. I remember when I was learning Spanish, I used to translate in my head all the time. It felt like I was holding myself back. But then I decided to stop and just speak. For example, when I had to describe what I did last weekend to a Spanish-speaking friend, I said, "Fui al parque y caminé con mis amigos el sábado." Instead of thinking, "On Saturday, I went to the park and I walked with my friends." It was hard at first, but the more I practiced, the easier it got. The same applies to learning English. The less you translate, the more fluent you'll become. Now, let's dive deeper into how you can practice this in your everyday life. Imagine you're telling your husband about your day. Instead of thinking in your native language, just talk to him in English. For instance, you might say, "I went to the grocery store today and I found some fresh strawberries. I decided to make a smoothie later." Without translating anything from your native language, it doesn't need to be perfect, but the more you do it, the better you'll become at thinking in English. Another great way to practice is by narrating your day in English. Every time you do something, like making breakfast or going for a walk, try to describe it in English. For example, "I just made my morning coffee and it smells great. I'm getting ready to go for a run." The more you speak in English like this, the less you'll need to translate. Sometimes when you start thinking in English, you'll realize that you don't need to use complex sentences. It's okay to speak simply, just like my friend James, who recently moved to the United States. He started telling his wife about his day in simple sentences. "I went to work, I met new people, we had lunch together." This simple practice helped him feel more comfortable speaking without overthinking. Here's a tip. If you're still struggling, try to learn phrases, not just individual words. This will help you think faster when speaking. For example, instead of thinking, "How are you today?" word by word, try to remember the whole phrase, "How are you today?" as one piece. This way, You'll sound more natural and confident when speaking. Let me share another story. A few months ago, I had a conversation with my friend Rachel, who is learning English. She used to struggle a lot with speaking because she was constantly translating everything. But after practicing with simple sentences, she became more confident. One day she said, "I met some new colleagues today, and we went out for lunch. I felt so comfortable speaking in English, and it felt great." The key here was that she stopped translating in her head and started thinking directly in English. So, in this episode, we've talked about the importance of thinking in English and not translating in your head. It may be difficult at first, but trust me, with regular practice, you'll start speaking more fluently. The more you speak naturally, the less you'll feel like you're translating, and the more confident you'll become. Now that we've talked about how to stop translating and start speaking in English, let's dive into some ways you can practice this in real-life situations. Have you ever been in a situation where you're talking to someone in English and you suddenly freeze because you can't remember the right word? This happens to a lot of learners, and it's usually because you're trying to translate in your head. My friend Emma faced this exact problem when she first moved to the UK. She would often pause during conversations, thinking about how to say things in English instead of just letting the words come naturally. But Emma realized that the more she practiced speaking without worrying about perfect grammar or translation, the better she became at expressing herself in English. Let's think about a simple scenario. Imagine you're at the grocery store and you need to ask for help. You could be looking for a particular brand of cereal, and instead of thinking, "How do I ask for this in English?" try to speak directly like this. "Excuse me, where can I find the cereal?" Just say it without overthinking. The more you practice situations like this, the more natural it will feel. Another great practice is to try shadowing. Shadowing is when you listen to a sentence in English and immediately repeat it out loud. For example, if someone says, "I'm going to the market later," you repeat, "I'm going to the market later." Doing this helps your brain adjust to thinking in English instead of translating. I've seen this technique work wonders for my friend Mark, who started practicing English by shadowing news reporters. He would listen to their sentences, pause, and repeat them, and it helped him speak faster and more naturally. Now, let's talk about how you can make this part of your daily routine. One thing I recommend is trying to describe simple things in your day-to-day life. For example, when you wake up in the morning, instead of thinking in your native language, try saying in English, "It's a beautiful morning. I'm going to have breakfast now." When you talk to your family or friends, make it a habit to speak directly in English about what you're doing. For instance, if you're making lunch, you could say, "I'm making a sandwich with turkey and cheese." It doesn't have to be anything complicated, just simple sentences about your routine. My friend John, who's been learning English for a few years, told me that when he first started, he would try to translate everything. It made him nervous when he spoke to others because he wasn't confident in his words. But now, John practices by talking to his wife in English every evening about what happened during the day. He doesn't worry about making mistakes, he just speaks. The more he practices, the more natural his speaking becomes. Let's also look at how to stop overthinking when you're speaking. It's easy to get caught up in worrying about your grammar or vocabulary, but remember the goal is to communicate, not to be perfect. When I started learning a new language, I always focused on trying to use perfect grammar, but that only made me nervous. After a while, I realized that it's okay to make mistakes. The important thing is to keep speaking and practicing. So the next time you're having a conversation, Don't worry if you make a small mistake. Just keep going and practice more to make it easier. Try to group words together. For example, instead of thinking of each word individually, try to remember phrases like, "How was your weekend?" or "I love going to the park." If you remember these common phrases, it will be easier for you to speak without having to translate word by word. That's how fluency works. It's about speaking in natural phrases and thinking less about the individual words. Another way to practice thinking directly in English is by setting small challenges for yourself. For example, today try to speak in English for at least 10 minutes without translating. You could talk to your family, your friend, or even yourself. The more you speak in English, the more confident you will feel. It might feel strange at first, but with time, you'll notice a big improvement. My friend David, who works as a teacher, told me that when he first started teaching English, he felt nervous speaking to his students, but now he speaks English all day long and hardly thinks about translating anymore. Now, let's think about real-life stories. One day, I was at the park with a friend of mine, Rachel, and we were talking about our hobbies. I asked her, "What do you like to do in your free time?" Instead of translating, she just said, "I enjoy painting and hiking. It's relaxing and helps me clear my mind." It was such a simple answer, but it was natural and flowed easily because she didn't stop to translate. You can practice the same way. Think about a question like, "What's your favorite type of food?" Instead of thinking, "How do I say this in English?" Just answer directly, "I love pasta. It's my favorite food because it's delicious and easy to make." The more you practice, the less you'll have to translate in your head. You'll start speaking more fluently and confidently. It's also important to listen to real-life conversations in English. The more you hear, the more you'll get used to thinking in English. Try listening to podcasts, conversations, or even watching simple videos in English. The goal is to expose yourself to how native speakers use the language in everyday situations. For example, when you hear someone saying, "I'll meet you at the coffee shop later," try to remember that as a phrase you can use in your own conversations. Let's take a moment and practice together. Imagine you're at a coffee shop and you need to ask for your order. Instead of translating the words in your head, just say, "I'll have a latte, please." See how easy it is when you don't stop to translate? The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. As you continue practicing, remember that fluency is not about being perfect, but about being able to express yourself confidently and clearly. Keep speaking and listening, and soon you'll find that you're thinking in English all the time without needing to translate. Picture yourself at a bakery. You walk in and you want to buy some bread. Instead of thinking in your native language and then trying to translate it into English, practice saying it directly. "Good morning, can I have a loaf of bread, please?" It's simple, polite, and easy. My friend Daniel practiced this every morning when he went to the bakery near his house. At first, he felt shy, but after a week of using English sentences naturally, he started feeling more confident. He told me that speaking without stopping to think helped him feel like English was becoming part of his daily life. Another example is when you go to the doctor's office. Maybe you need to explain a simple problem. Instead of translating, practice thinking directly in English. You could say, "I have a headache" or "My stomach hurts." Easy, short sentences that communicate clearly. My neighbor Sarah once shared with me that she used to write small sentences in a notebook and read them before going to places like the doctor's office. She would practice them out loud at home so that when she needed them, she could speak naturally. It helped her stop translating and boosted her confidence. Now think about talking to a new neighbor. Imagine you meet Mr. Johnson, who just moved into your building. Instead of worrying about translating the perfect greeting, just say, "Hello, welcome to the neighborhood." How are you today? Natural, friendly, and direct. My cousin Michael practiced this when he moved to a new city. He made a goal to greet at least one person every day in English. He told me that at first, it felt uncomfortable, but after a few weeks, he didn't even realize he was thinking in English. Speaking naturally had become a habit for him. One powerful method I recommend is practicing storytelling in English. Storytelling helps you organize your thoughts in English without translating. Start small. Talk about what you did yesterday. You could say, "Yesterday, I went to the park with my wife. We walked by the lake, watched the ducks, and had a picnic." When you practice telling short stories, you train your brain to think in English sentences, not word by word. I remember my student Olivia did this every night before going to sleep. She would spend 5 minutes telling herself a short story about her day, and after 3 months, her fluency improved a lot. Another important tip is to think in English during your daily activities. For example, when you're cleaning your house, try describing what you are doing. "I'm washing the dishes," "I'm sweeping the floor," "I'm making the bed." These simple sentences help you stay in English without even realizing it. My friend Andrew, who works as an engineer, started doing this when he was learning English. While driving to work, he would describe everything he saw. "I see a red car. The traffic light is green. It's raining today." This small daily habit made a big difference in his speaking skills. Let's do a practice together. Imagine you are at the post office and you need to send a package to your brother. You walk up to the counter and say, "Good afternoon. I would like to send this package to New York, please." The worker might ask you some simple questions like, "Do you want express delivery or do you need insurance?" Instead of worrying, just practice answering naturally. "Yes, please, express delivery," or "No, just regular delivery is fine." Practicing common situations like this will make you feel ready when they happen in real life. Now, another key point to remember is that it's okay if your English is not perfect. Native speakers are not expecting you to speak perfectly. They care more about understanding you and having a real conversation. When my friend Thomas visited Canada, he made a lot of small mistakes in English, but people still understood him and appreciated that he was trying. Every time he spoke, he became a little more confident. Today, Thomas can have full conversations in English without translating at all. One useful technique is to create daily English challenges for yourself. For example, today's challenge could be to order food in English without translating. Tomorrow's challenge could be to describe your morning routine in English. Little by little, these challenges will push you to think and speak in English directly. My cousin Emma used this method when she was preparing for her job interview. Each day, she gave herself a new speaking challenge. After 1 month, she felt ready to answer interview questions without pausing to translate. Now, let's also talk about how to deal with new words you don't know. Sometimes you might want to say something, but you don't know the exact English word. Instead of stopping the conversation, try to explain the word using simple English. For example, if you want to say thermometer but forget the word, you could say, "the thing that measures temperature." This keeps the conversation going and helps you stay in English. My student Ben used this trick many times. He once told me he couldn't remember the word for ladder during a conversation, so he said, "the thing you use to climb to reach something high." His friends understood immediately. It's also very helpful to think about conversations in advance. If you know you are going to meet someone or go to a place where you need English, practice some sentences beforehand. If you're going to the library, you might practice saying, "I'm looking for a book about history." If you're going to a restaurant, you might practice, "Can I see the menu, please?" My friend Anna always prepares 2 or 3 sentences in her mind before she goes out. It gives her confidence and helps her speak smoothly. Let's practice again. Imagine you're at a bookstore. You want to find a book for your son. You could walk up to the clerk and say, "Good morning, I'm looking for a book for my son. He likes adventure stories." The clerk might ask, "How old is your son?" And you can reply, "He is 10 years old." Simple, natural conversation without stopping to translate. Another very good practice is role-playing with yourself or with a friend. Choose a situation like shopping for clothes, visiting a doctor, or meeting a neighbor. Act out the conversation as if it were real. For example, if you're shopping, you might say, "Excuse me, do you have this shirt in a larger size?" Or, "Can I try this on, please?" My brother Peter used this technique when he was learning Spanish, and now he speaks very fluently. Role-playing gives you real practice without any pressure. I also want to remind you that your thinking speed will improve over time. In the beginning, you might feel slow because your brain is adjusting to thinking in English. That's normal. Don't give up. Every small effort you make is helping you build a strong English brain. Just like when a baby learns to speak, it starts slowly, but little by little, it becomes faster and more natural. And remember, it's important to speak English out loud. Reading silently is good, but speaking out loud trains your mouth and brain together. If you practice speaking every day, even if you are alone, you will see fast improvement. My friend James used to read short stories out loud for 15 minutes every morning. It helped him with pronunciation, confidence, and thinking in English. Finally, trust yourself. You have the ability to speak English fluently. Every time you practice, you are getting closer to your goal. Now, let's go even deeper into using English naturally in real life. I want you to relax and imagine yourself living your everyday life in English. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward one small step at a time. Let's start with a very normal situation. You are at a coffee shop. You walk in and smell the fresh coffee. You want to order a drink. Instead of thinking in your own language first, you speak directly in English. You smile at the worker and say, "Good morning, I would like a cup of coffee, please. Medium size, no sugar." Then maybe the worker asks, "Would you like anything to eat?" And you can answer, "No, thank you." Simple, natural, and clear. I remember my student David when he first moved to London. He was nervous about ordering food. He would think for a long time trying to translate in his mind. Then he decided to practice simple sentences every day. He wrote down sentences like, "I would like a coffee," and "Can I have a sandwich, please?" After a few weeks of practice, David could order his coffee without any fear. He told me it felt amazing when he finally ordered naturally without thinking about translation. Another everyday situation is meeting new people at work. Let's say you start a new job and meet your coworker, Mr. Carter. Instead of preparing a big, complicated introduction in your own language, you simply say, "Hi, I'm Sophia. Nice to meet you. I'm excited to work with you." And if Mr. Carter says, "Where are you from?" you answer directly, "I'm from Texas," or "I'm from Manchester." Keeping it short and clear is the best way to think directly in English. My friend Sophia, used here as another example of myself, had the same experience when she moved to Australia. At first, she was very shy to talk to her coworkers. She told me that she used to write small conversation starters on sticky notes and carry them in her pocket. Every time she had a break, she would pull out a note and practice saying it out loud. Phrases like, "How was your weekend?" or "Did you have a busy day?" These simple questions helped her start conversations naturally without translating. Now, let's imagine you are going to a shop to buy some clothes. You find a nice jacket, but you are not sure about the size. Instead of translating a long sentence in your mind, you just ask, "Excuse me, do you have this jacket in a larger size?" Or if you want a different color, you can say, "Do you have this in blue?" My cousin William practiced this when he was living in New York. He made a rule for himself. Whenever he went shopping, he had to ask at least one question in English. After 1 month, he felt very comfortable talking to store workers. It's also important to practice simple sentences at home. Let's say you are cooking dinner. As you chop vegetables, you say to yourself, "I'm cutting carrots. I'm boiling water. I'm frying chicken." Speaking these small sentences out loud helps you build natural English thinking. My Aunt Lisa, who learned English later in life, used this method every day. She said it felt strange at first, but after some weeks, she realized that her brain was starting to think in English without any extra effort. Another powerful method is practicing short conversations in your mind. For example, imagine you are going to visit your friend, Mrs. Parker. In your mind, you can practice, "Hi, Mrs. Parker. Thank you for inviting me. Your house is beautiful." Or if she offers you tea, you can say, "Yes, please. I would love some tea." By practicing these short conversations every day, you are preparing yourself for real-life situations. I also recommend listening carefully to real-life English stories, just like the ones I share with you here. When you listen, don't try to translate every word. Focus on understanding the meaning. Then try to retell the story in your own simple English. Even if you forget some parts, that's okay. The goal is to practice speaking and thinking naturally. Here's a little story for you to practice. Imagine my friend Matthew. He is a young father. Last weekend, Matthew took his wife and son to the countryside for a picnic. They packed sandwiches, fruit, and some juice. When they arrived, they found a nice spot near a small river. They played games, had lunch, and enjoyed the fresh air. At the end of the day, they felt very happy and relaxed. Now, can you try to tell this story back in your own words? Even a few simple sentences would be great practice. Now, let's talk about shopping at the market. Imagine you are buying fruits and vegetables. You pick up some apples and you want to know the price. Instead of translating, just say, "How much are these apples?" If you want to buy more, you can say, "Can I have 5 apples, please?" If you change your mind, you can say, "Actually, can I have 6 apples?" These little phrases help you stay in English naturally. My neighbor Henry, who speaks 5 languages, told me that he always practices market conversations first because they are simple and real. Another great practice idea is pretending you are giving simple instructions. Imagine you are helping a friend find your house. You can practice saying, "Turn left at the supermarket." "Go straight for 2 blocks. My house is next to the bakery." When my student Grace was preparing to host a guest from abroad, she practiced giving directions every night before bed. By the time her guest arrived, she could explain everything clearly and easily without stopping to think. Also, when you're with your family, you can practice English together. Maybe you can describe what you are doing. For example, "I'm setting the table," "I'm cleaning the windows," or "I'm helping my son with his homework." Even if your family members are not learning English, speaking these small sentences out loud will help your brain get used to English naturally. My Uncle Robert did this with his children, and they all became very good at English without even thinking about it. One more important situation is asking for help. Imagine you are lost in a new city. You see a police officer and need to ask for directions. You can practice saying, "Excuse me, can you help me find the train station?" Or, "Which way is the library?" My friend Abigail practiced this when she moved to Canada. Every time she went somewhere new, she prepared 1 or 2 questions she might need. She told me it gave her a lot of confidence because she knew she could ask for help in English easily. Let's do another little story. Think about my friend Nathan. Last month, Nathan's wife asked him to buy a new table for their kitchen. Nathan went to a furniture shop. He found a nice wooden table. He spoke to the shop assistant and said, "I'm looking for a strong kitchen table." The assistant showed him a few options, and Nathan chose the one he liked best. He paid for it, and they delivered it to his house 2 days later. Nathan and his wife were very happy with their new table. Again, can you try telling this story back in your own words? Even a short version is perfect for practice. Remember, speaking English naturally is not about using big, fancy words. It's about using simple, clear sentences and trusting yourself. Every day you practice, your mind becomes a little faster and your mouth becomes a little more comfortable. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Also, do not be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. Every time you speak, even if you make mistakes, you are getting better. My student Charlotte used to say, "Every mistake I make is a small step closer to fluency." And she was right. Today she speaks English confidently with people from all over the world. When you start thinking directly in English, you will notice that your conversations become smoother. You will spend less time searching for words. You will feel more comfortable expressing your ideas, and most importantly, you will enjoy speaking English more and more every day. Now, let's talk about one more real-life situation. Imagine you are visiting a friend's house. You want to compliment their home. You could say, "Your house is beautiful. I love your garden." Or, "Thank you for having me." Simple, kind sentences make conversations warm and natural. My friend Ethan told me that learning how to give compliments helped him a lot when he was making new friends in a new country. It made people feel happy and made conversations easier. Also, practice talking about your family. It's a very natural and easy topic. You can say, "I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. My parents live in Chicago," or "My wife is a teacher." Talking about family is common in everyday conversations. It gives you a chance to speak naturally and share about yourself. And do not forget, practice, practice, practice. Even 5 minutes a day can make a big difference. Talk about what you see, what you do, and what you think, all in English. Little by little, you will stop translating and start living in English. Now, let's go even deeper into using English naturally in real life. I want you to imagine that you are waking up in the morning. The sun is shining through your window. You stretch your arms and yawn. Instead of thinking in your own language, you start your day in English. You say to yourself, "Good morning, it's a beautiful day." Then you get out of bed and say, "I am going to brush my teeth now." As you brush your teeth, you think, "I am brushing my teeth." You continue your morning like this, thinking and speaking to yourself in simple English sentences. My friend Emily did this when she moved to England. At first, it felt a little strange to talk to herself in English, but she kept doing it every day. After 1 month, she told me that she felt more comfortable thinking in English. Her words came faster, and she stopped translating from her own language. She said, "I feel like my brain is starting to live in English." That is exactly what you want to happen. Now imagine that after getting ready, you go to a coffee shop. You are standing in line. You see the menu. You think in English, "I would like a latte today." When it's your turn, you smile and say, "Good morning, can I have a medium latte, please?" The worker smiles back and says, "Of course." "Anything else?" You answer, "No, thank you." You pay, take your coffee, and say, "Have a nice day." This small conversation is very normal, very real, and very natural. My student Daniel practiced this every day before work. He even practiced in his mind while walking to the coffee shop. He would imagine the conversation, "Good morning, I would like a coffee, please." Practicing in your mind is powerful. It prepares you to speak without fear. After coffee, you go to work. On the way, you meet your coworker, Mr. Johnson. He smiles and says, "Morning, how are you today?" Instead of thinking in your own language first, you reply directly in English. "I'm great, thanks." "How about you?" Then Mr. Johnson says, "I'm good, thank you." You both laugh a little and talk about the weather. You say, "It's a bit cold today, isn't it?" Mr. Johnson agrees. "Yes, I had to wear my warm jacket." Simple, short conversations like this are real communication, and they help you build confidence. My friend Olivia used to be scared to talk to her coworkers in English. She thought, "What if I say something wrong?" But then she made a small rule. She would say at least 3 simple sentences every morning at work. Even if it was just, "Good morning, how are you?" and "Nice weather today," it still helped her practice speaking naturally. After a few weeks, it became easy. She no longer felt nervous. Later in the day, you go to a meeting at work. You sit with your coworkers, Mr. Adams, Ms. Brown, and Ms. Taylor. They start discussing a project. You listen carefully. When it's your turn to speak, you say, "I think we should finish the project by Friday." Maybe someone asks for your opinion. "What do you think about the design, Sophia?" You answer, "I like it. It's simple and modern." Again, short, clear sentences, no translating needed. When my student Thomas first started working at an English-speaking company, he found meetings very difficult. He understood what people were saying, but he was slow to answer because he was translating in his head. I gave him some advice. Prepare simple sentences before meetings. For example, "I agree with that." "I think it's a good idea," or "Can you explain that again, please?" After 2 months of practicing these short sentences, Thomas could join meetings naturally without feeling lost. Now, imagine it's lunchtime. You and your friends, Emma and James, decide to go to a restaurant. You sit down, look at the menu, and think in English, "I want to eat a chicken sandwich today." When the waiter comes, you say, "I'll have the chicken sandwich, please, and a glass of water." James orders pasta, and Emma orders a salad. You all smile and chat while waiting for the food. This is how normal life in English feels when you stop translating. My cousin Lucy practiced restaurant English before her trip to New York. She wrote down phrases like, "Can I have the menu, please?" "I'll have the steak," and "Can we get the check, please?" Practicing simple phrases helped her feel ready when she arrived. She ordered her food naturally and even joked with the waiters a little bit. After lunch, you go shopping. You walk into a clothing store and see a nice jacket. You think, "This jacket looks nice." You pick it up and check the price tag. You wonder, "Do they have it in my size?" You find a store assistant, Mr. Lee, and say, "Excuse me, do you have this jacket in a larger size?" Mr. Lee checks and brings you a bigger one. You try it on and say, "It fits perfectly. I'll take it." You go to the cashier, pay, and say, "Thank you, have a good day." Everything happens smoothly because you are thinking and speaking directly in English. My neighbor Kevin, who learned English when he was 30 years old, always says, "Shopping is the best practice ground." He would visit small shops just to ask simple questions in English. Questions like, "How much is this? Do you have it in blue? Can I pay by card?" Talking to shop workers helped him become confident very quickly. In the afternoon, you go to the park with your friend Sarah. You walk around, enjoy the flowers, and talk about your plans for the weekend. Sarah asks, "What are you doing this weekend?" And you reply, "I'm visiting my parents." You ask her, "How about you?" She says, "I'm going hiking with my brother." Again, the conversation is easy and natural. No translating, just simple English thinking and speaking. My student Benjamin loved practicing English by spending time with his friends at the park. He would think about small topics before meeting them, like what I did yesterday or my favorite movies. Then, during the conversation, he would try to use those ideas naturally. It helped him stay in English without feeling stressed. Later that day, you stop by the supermarket to buy some food. You pick up some bananas, bread, and milk. At the checkout, the cashier, Ms. Green, says, "Did you find everything okay?" And you answer, "Yes, thank you." She says, "That will be $12, please." You give her your money, take your bag, and say, "Thanks, have a good evening." Again, these small daily interactions are perfect for building natural English. My friend Abigail used to be afraid of speaking English at supermarkets. She worried about saying something wrong, so she practiced simple sentences like, "Where is the bread? Can I have a bag, please? Do you take credit cards?" After a few weeks, she felt brave enough to ask questions and chat a little at the store. Now she shops without any fear. At home in the evening, you relax. You cook dinner and describe what you are doing in English. "I'm cutting vegetables. I'm boiling pasta. I'm setting the table." You talk to yourself as you work. You think about your day in English. "Today was a good day. I spoke English naturally. I am improving every day." This kind of positive thinking is very powerful. My Aunt Rachel learned English by doing exactly this. Every night she would describe her actions out loud in English while cooking, cleaning, or getting ready for bed. She told me it helped her brain stay active in English even when she was tired. After 6 months, she spoke English almost without thinking. Later, you sit down and watch a simple English TV show, maybe a family show like Friends or a cooking show like Master Chef. As you watch, you do not try to understand every word. You listen for the main idea. You enjoy the jokes, the conversations, the little stories. If you hear a new phrase, you repeat it quietly to yourself. "That's interesting." "I can't believe it." Or, "Let's get started." Watching real English shows helps you think and feel in English naturally. My student Oliver used to watch Friends with English subtitles. He said at first he had to pause a lot and check words, but after a few weeks, he could understand most conversations without pausing. He even started using some funny expressions from the show in real life. Before going to bed, you can practice a small speaking exercise. You can talk about your day in English. For example, you can say, "Today, I woke up at 7 o'clock. I went to the coffee shop. I ordered a latte. I talked to Mr. Johnson at work. I had lunch with Emma and James. I bought a new jacket. I went to the park with Sarah. I shopped at the supermarket. I watched TV. Now I'm going to sleep." Talking about your day in English helps your brain review and remember new words and phrases. My student Charlotte made this a habit every night. She called it her English bedtime story. She said that it helped her feel proud of her progress and that it made English feel like a normal part of her life. Little by little, speaking English became as natural for her as speaking her native language. Let's move forward with another important part of using English naturally. Thinking in English when you're doing daily activities outside your home. Imagine you have a free Saturday morning. You decide to visit the library. On the way there, you walk past small shops, parks, and people walking their dogs. As you walk, you think in English. You look around and say to yourself, "There is a bakery. It smells so good." You pass by a man jogging and think, "He is running very fast." You see two little children playing with a ball and think, "They are having fun." Even if you are alone, you are describing everything in simple English sentences. My student Henry told me that this simple activity made a big difference for him. When he first started, it was hard to find the right words quickly, but after a few weeks, his brain became faster. Now, wherever he goes, he automatically describes things in English without any stress. When you arrive at the library, you walk through the big glass doors and go to the information desk. You see a lady sitting there smiling. Her name tag says Miss Parker. You say, "Good morning. Where can I find books about history?" Miss Parker says, "They are on the second floor next to the science section." You say, "Thank you very much." She smiles and says, "You're welcome. Enjoy your reading." This short conversation, even though it is very simple, is real English practice. It builds your confidence step by step. One of my students, George, used to visit the library once a week just to practice asking questions. He would prepare 3 or 4 questions before going. For example, where is the new book section? Can I borrow this book? How long can I keep it? By doing this, George practiced polite English and also became familiar with everyday phrases that people use in real life. After asking at the desk, you go up to the second floor. You walk through the shelves looking at different books. You think in English. This book looks interesting. This book is too difficult for me right now. I want to read something easy today. You pick a book about famous cities around the world. You sit in a quiet corner, open the book, and start reading. As you read, you don't stop to translate every word. Instead, you focus on understanding the main ideas. You see a picture of London and read, "London is famous for its history, museums, and beautiful parks." You nod your head and think, "Yes, I would love to visit London one day." My friend Anna, who learned English as an adult, always said that reading simple English books helped her a lot. She didn't understand every single word, but she understood enough to enjoy the story. Over time, her vocabulary grew naturally. She told me the important thing is to enjoy reading, not to worry about every single word. She understood enough to enjoy the story. Over time, her vocabulary grew naturally. She told me the important thing is to enjoy reading, not to worry. Picnic with my family. This simple writing practice connects listening, thinking, speaking, and writing together, making your English even stronger. The most important thing is to use English every day, even in small ways. As my student James once said, it's like watering a plant. If you give it a little water every day, it grows strong. Your English will grow too if you speak, think, and live with it daily. The next morning, you decide to keep practicing English even more. You wake up early and think, "Today I will speak as much English as possible." After breakfast, you look outside and see that it is a beautiful sunny day. You think it's a perfect day to go for a walk in the neighborhood. You put on your walking shoes and head out the door. As you walk down the street, you describe everything you see in English. You say to yourself, "There's a tall tree on the corner. The flowers in Mrs. Brown's garden look beautiful. I see a man walking his dog." Talking to yourself like this builds strong habits. It helps you link English directly to what you see and feel. As you continue walking, you meet your neighbor Thomas. He waves and says, "Good morning, Sophia. Beautiful day, isn't it?" You smile and reply, "Good morning, Thomas. Yes, it's lovely today. Perfect weather for a walk." Thomas laughs and says, "Enjoy your walk." You answer, "Thank you, you too." Short conversations like this make a big difference in your confidence. After your walk, you decide to visit the nearby farmer's market. At the market, you see many colorful fruits and vegetables. You think in English again. The strawberries look fresh. The carrots are bright orange. There are so many types of apples. Describing simple things around you helps your brain stay active in English. You walk up to a fruit stand where an old man named Mr. Wilson is selling apples. You smile and say, "Good morning. Your apples look very fresh. How much are they?" Mr. Wilson smiles back and says, "Good morning. They are $2 a pound." You reply, "I'll take 2 pounds, please." As he weighs the apples, he says, "They're from my own farm, picked just yesterday." You respond, "That's wonderful. I'm sure they'll taste great." You pay him, say goodbye, and head off. Later in the afternoon, you visit the library. You walk inside and greet the librarian, Mrs. Carter. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Carter," you say. She replies, "Good afternoon, Sophia. How can I help you today?" You answer, "I'm looking for some books to improve my English vocabulary." Mrs. Carter smiles and says, "You're in the right place. Follow me. I'll show you where they are." As you walk together, Mrs. Carter asks, "How long have you been learning English?" You think for a moment and reply, "I've been learning for about 2 years, but I really started practicing every day just a few months ago." Mrs. Carter nods and says, "Daily practice is the best way. You're doing a great job." Hearing kind words like this motivates you to continue. You borrow 2 easy English books. One is a story about a family living on a farm, and the other is about a woman opening her own bakery. These stories use simple English and real-life topics, which are perfect for your level. You thank Mrs. Carter and promise to return the books on time. On your way home, you stop at a small coffee shop. Inside, you see a young woman named Lisa behind the counter. She smiles and says, "Hi there. What can I get for you today?" You answer, "Hi, Lisa. I'd like a cup of tea, please, and maybe a slice of banana bread." Lisa replies, "Coming right up. Please have a seat. I'll bring it to your table." As you wait, you think about how many chances you had today to speak English naturally. With Thomas during your walk, Mr. Wilson at the market, Mrs. Carter at the library, and now Lisa at the coffee shop. All these moments are building your fluency step by step. Lisa brings the tea and banana bread to your table. She says, "Here you go. Enjoy." You reply, "Thank you, Lisa. It smells delicious." She smiles and says, "It's one of our most popular items. Let me know if you need anything else." You sit back, sip your tea, and think about writing down today's experiences in a small notebook. Writing about your day in English will also help your thinking and writing skills grow stronger. You write, "Today I spoke English with 4 different people. I bought fresh apples, borrowed library books, and had tea at a coffee shop. I feel proud of my progress." After finishing your tea, you leave the coffee shop and walk home with a big smile on your face. On your way home, you meet Mr. Johnson. an old man who lives 2 houses down. He is working in his garden. He sees you and says, "Good evening, Sophia. Taking a walk?" You reply, "Yes, Mr. Johnson, it's such a beautiful evening. Your garden looks lovely." Mr. Johnson laughs and says, "Thank you. It keeps me busy and happy." You smile and say, "It must be great exercise too." Small talks like this may seem simple, but they are very powerful. They teach you real English, not just words from a book, but living, breathing English that people use every day. Later that evening, you cook dinner for your family. As you cook, you talk to yourself in English. "I am cutting the vegetables. I'm boiling water. Now I'm adding salt." Describing your actions aloud may feel funny at first, but it really helps. It trains your brain to stay in English even when you are busy. After dinner, you sit with your husband Daniel. He asks, "How was your day, Sophia?" You smile and say, "It was great. I practiced English all day. I talked to so many people and I didn't feel nervous at all." Daniel smiles and says, "I'm proud of you. You are getting better and better every day." Then Daniel shares his story from work. He says, "Today I had to give a small speech in front of my team. I was very nervous at first, but once I started talking, it became easier." You reply, "That's amazing, Daniel. Speaking in front of a group is not easy." "I'm happy it went well." Daniel laughs and says, "Yes, and now I understand how important practice is, just like you are practicing your English every day." Hearing Daniel's story reminds you that everyone, no matter what they are learning, needs time and practice to grow. Before going to bed, you sit quietly for a few minutes. You think about everything you did today. You spoke English in real-life situations. You listened carefully. You responded naturally. And you even wrote about your day. You feel thankful for every small step forward. You also remember that you didn't translate in your head today. You thought directly in English. That is a big success. You make a small plan for tomorrow. You will call your friend Sarah and invite her for a walk in the park. You decide you will only use English during your conversation. You write in your notebook, "Tomorrow's goal, speak only English with Sarah." Talk about simple things like the weather, plans for the weekend, and family news. Setting small goals like this keeps you motivated and helps you stay focused on your journey to fluency. As you close your notebook, you smile and think, "Every small step brings me closer to my dream of speaking English fluently." The next morning, you wake up feeling full of energy. You remember your plan to call your friend Sarah and practice English during your conversation. You quickly finish your breakfast and pick up your phone. You take a deep breath and call her. Sarah answers, "Hello, Sophia. How are you today?" You smile and say, "Hi, Sarah. I'm doing very well. Thank you. I was wondering if you are free this afternoon. Would you like to go for a walk in the park?" Sarah replies happily, "Yes, I would love to. It's a perfect day for a walk. Let's meet at 2 o'clock at the park entrance." You agree and say, "Perfect. See you there." You feel proud that you made the whole conversation in English without translating. You didn't stop or think too much. It felt natural. Later in the afternoon, you put on your shoes and head to the park. When you arrive, Sarah is already there waiting for you with a big smile. She waves and says, "Hey, Sophia, ready for a nice walk?" You reply, "Yes, let's enjoy the fresh air." As you walk, you talk about many simple things. Sarah points at the sky and says, "Look at the beautiful clouds today." You say, "Yes, they look so soft and white. It feels peaceful." Then you both walk past a small playground. You see children playing on the swings and slides. Sarah says, "They look so happy. I remember playing at the park when I was a child. You laugh and say, me too. I loved the swings the most. I felt like I was flying. Sarah smiles and says, simple things bring so much joy. You nod and say, that's true. And practicing English like this also brings joy because it shows how far we have come. As you continue walking, you see an older couple sitting on a bench, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson. They are feeding some pigeons. You wave and say politely, good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson. How are you today? Mr. Anderson smiles warmly and says, good afternoon, Sophia and Sarah. We're enjoying the sunshine. How about you two? You reply, we're having a nice walk and practicing English. Mrs. Anderson chuckles and says, that's wonderful. Every day you practice is a day you grow. You thank them and continue your walk. Sarah then says, it feels good to practice like this. It's much better than sitting at home with grammar books all day. You laugh and say, yes, real conversations are the best teachers. As you walk toward the small pond, you see ducks swimming peacefully. You describe what you see. The ducks are moving so gracefully. Look at that little one following its mother. Sarah says, it's so cute. Nature always has something beautiful to show us. You nod and say, and today, nature is helping us practice our English. After walking for about an hour, you and Sarah sit on a bench near the pond. Sarah pulls out a small notebook and says, I started writing a few sentences about my day every night before bed. It helps me think in English. You say, that's a great idea. I do that too. It makes me notice more new words and expressions. Sarah smiles and says, let's write a few sentences right now. You both pull out your notebooks. You write, today I walked in the park with my friend Sarah. We spoke only English. We talked about the weather, the children playing, and the ducks in the pond. Sarah reads her sentences aloud. It's so simple, she says, but it feels so good to write in English. You say, simple is powerful. Every small step makes us stronger. After finishing your writing, you both decide to go home. You hug Sarah and say, thank you for a beautiful afternoon. Sarah says, thank you too, Sophia. Let's do this again soon. On your way home, you decide to stop by the grocery store. You walk inside and see a man named David working behind the counter. He recognizes you and smiles. Hello, Sophia. How can I help you today? He asks. You reply, hi, David. I need some fresh vegetables, please. David says, we have fresh carrots, tomatoes, and cucumbers. You smile and say, that's perfect. I'll take some of each. As David packs your vegetables, he asks, are you planning a special dinner? You reply, just a healthy salad for my family. We love fresh vegetables. David says, sounds delicious. Enjoy your meal. You pay, thank him, and leave the store. While walking home, you realize that every small conversation you had today with Sarah, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, and David helped you speak faster, more naturally, and with more confidence. At home, your husband Daniel is fixing a chair in the living room. He smiles and says, welcome home, Sophia. Did you enjoy your walk? You laugh and say, yes, I spoke English the whole time. I feel so happy. Daniel says, that's amazing. I'm proud of you. Later in the evening, after dinner, you decide to call your cousin Michael, who lives in another city. You haven't spoken to him in a few months. You dial his number. Michael answers, hey, Sophia, what a nice surprise. You reply, hi, Michael. I was thinking about you today. How are you? Michael says, I'm good, busy with work, but good. And you? You say, I'm practicing my English every day now. I'm trying to stop translating and start thinking directly in English. Michael says, that's a smart idea. It's the only way to become fluent. You talk for almost 20 minutes about simple things, family news, small projects around the house, and weekend plans. You notice that during the whole call, you didn't once translate from your native language to English. You just spoke naturally. After the call, you feel even more motivated. You sit down with your notebook and write about today's achievements. Practiced English with Sarah at the park, talked with Mr. and Mrs. Anderson about enjoying the sunshine, bought vegetables from David and had a friendly chat, had a phone conversation with Cousin Michael, all in English. You read what you wrote and smile. Every word you speak, every sentence you write, every simple conversation you have, they are building your future fluency. You think, fluency doesn't come all at once. It comes from small daily actions. It comes from speaking, even when I'm nervous, listening carefully and thinking in English. You look out the window at the dark night sky and feel thankful for the day. Then you remember something. Tomorrow you promise to meet your neighbor Olivia for tea at her house. You quickly send her a message. Hi, Olivia. I'm looking forward to our tea time tomorrow. See you at 3 o'clock. She replies right away. Hi, Sophia. I'm excited too. See you tomorrow. You close your phone and smile again. You know that tomorrow will bring even more chances to practice English, make new memories, and become more fluent, one step at a time. The next day, you wake up early, feeling excited. You remember that you have tea with your neighbor Olivia at 3 o'clock. You decide to make the most of the morning by practicing English as much as you can. You start by talking to yourself while making breakfast. You say aloud, "Today I will practice English with Olivia. I will listen carefully. I will answer without translating. I will enjoy every moment." After breakfast, you clean the kitchen. As you wash the dishes, you practice describing what you are doing in English. I am washing the plates. I am cleaning the cups. The water is warm. The soap smells fresh. You smile because you know that even simple sentences like these make your brain think faster in English. Later, you sit down with your notebook and write a short paragraph about your plans. Today, I will meet my neighbor Olivia for tea. I am excited to talk in English. I hope I can speak without stopping or translating. I want to listen carefully and answer naturally. After writing, you read your paragraph out loud 2 times to practice your pronunciation. Time passes quickly. At 2:30, you get ready to leave. You choose a nice, comfortable dress and comb your hair neatly. You feel ready. At 3 o'clock, you knock on Olivia's door. She opens it with a big smile. "Hi, Sophia. Come in," she says warmly. You step inside. The house smells wonderful. Olivia has baked some fresh bread. She says, "Please sit down. The tea is ready." You sit at the table. There are plates with bread, butter, and honey. A teapot is steaming in the middle. Olivia pours tea into 2 cups and says, "How have you been, Sophia?" You smile and answer, "I have been great. Thank you." "I've been practicing my English every day." Olivia says, "That's wonderful. Your English sounds better every time we meet." You feel happy and a little proud. You say, "Thank you, Olivia. Speaking with kind people like you helps a lot." She laughs and says, "We can practice together. I'll help you and you can help me learn new words." You both laugh and start eating. As you sip your tea, you talk about simple things. Olivia says, "My son Benjamin started a new job last week. He is working at a bakery." You ask, "Oh, that's nice. Does he like it?" Olivia nods and says, "Yes, he enjoys it very much. He loves baking bread and cakes." You say, "That's great. Fresh bread always makes people happy." Then you tell Olivia about your husband Daniel fixing the chair yesterday. You say, Daniel fixed our old chair yesterday. It was broken for a long time. Olivia smiles and says, That's so good. My husband Matthew also likes fixing things around the house. You both laugh again. You notice something important. During the whole conversation, you are not thinking in your native language. You are thinking and speaking directly in English. It feels natural and comfortable. After tea, Olivia shows you her garden. There are tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, and some beautiful flowers. You say, Your garden is beautiful, Olivia. The vegetables look so fresh. She says proudly, Thank you. I love spending time here. It helps me relax. You walk around the garden together, naming everything you see in English. Tomato, you say, pointing. Cucumber, Olivia says, laughing. Carrot, you say. Daisy, Olivia says, pointing at a small white flower. It feels like a fun game, and you realize that learning English this way, by speaking, seeing, touching, and smiling, is the best way. After an hour, you thank Olivia and walk back home. You feel so good inside, calm, proud, and motivated. At home, you sit down again with your notebook and write about today. I had tea with Olivia today. We spoke English the whole time. We talked about our families, fixing things, and gardening. I felt confident and happy. I did not translate in my head. I spoke directly in English. After writing, you read your sentences aloud. Then you get an idea. Why not practice English with even more people? You decide to call your Aunt Linda, who lives a few streets away. You pick up the phone and call her. Hello, Sophia, Aunt Linda answers cheerfully. Hi, Aunt Linda. How are you today? You ask. I'm doing well, thank you. How about you, dear? She says. You say, I'm great. I'm practicing English every day. I want to become fluent. Aunt Linda says, That's wonderful, Sophia. I'm so proud of you. You ask, Can I visit you for a little while and practice some English with you? She says, Of course. Come over any time. You smile and get ready to visit her. When you arrive at Aunt Linda's house, she is watering her plants. She says, Welcome, Sophia. Come inside. I made some cookies. You laugh and say, You always have the best cookies. Inside the house, you sit at the kitchen table and chat. Aunt Linda says, Tell me about your week. You talk about your walk in the park with Sarah, buying vegetables from David, the phone call with Michael, and your tea time with Olivia. You say, Every day I am speaking more and translating less. Aunt Linda nods and says, That's the key to success. Keep going. You spend an hour talking about small things, cooking, gardening, helping neighbors, reading short stories. You describe how Daniel fixed the chair and how you plan to plant tomatoes in your backyard. Everything you say in English, and every time you speak, you feel your fluency growing. Before you leave, Aunt Linda gives you a small gift, a notebook with a colorful cover. She says, Use this to write something in English every day. You smile and say, Thank you, Aunt Linda, I will. On your walk home, you feel inspired. You think, speaking with kind people like Olivia and Aunt Linda makes learning English fun and easy. When you arrive home, Daniel is in the backyard planting some flowers. He waves and says, Hey, Sophia, how was your visit? You say, It was wonderful. I practiced English the whole time. I feel stronger every day. Daniel says, I'm happy for you. Keep practicing, and soon you'll be speaking like a native. You sit on the porch and open your new notebook. You write, Today I spoke English with Aunt Linda. We talked about many simple things. I did not translate in my head. I feel proud and thankful. You close your notebook and look at the sunset. The sky is painted with orange and pink colors. You smile and say to yourself, "Every day is a chance to grow. I will never give up." You remember that tomorrow you will help your neighbor Mr. Thomas paint his fence. You decide that this will be another great chance to practice English in real-life situations. You pick up your phone and send a quick message to Mr. Thomas. "Hi, Mr. Thomas. I'll be ready to help you tomorrow morning." He replies, "Thank you, Sophia. See you at 9 o'clock." You feel happy to help and excited to practice more English. Congratulations! In this episode 20 of the Best English Podcast, we've explored how to effectively stop translating and start speaking English more naturally and confidently. We've covered countless real-life scenarios and practical techniques that empower you to think directly in English and use it effortlessly every day. Remember the key takeaways. Embrace direct thinking. Narrate your day, describe your surroundings, and plan your activities in English. Learn in chunks. Focus on common phrases and expressions, not just individual words, to sound more natural. Practice in real situations. Use English in coffee shops, with coworkers, and even when talking to yourself. Don't fear mistakes. See them as opportunities to learn and grow your confidence. Consistency is key. Small daily efforts add up to big results over time. By regularly applying these strategies, you're not just learning English, you're living it. Your brain is being rewired to process thoughts directly in English, leading to smoother conversations, quicker responses, and a genuine feeling of fluency. Keep practicing, stay positive, and celebrate every small victory. You are on the right path to speaking English naturally, just like a native. Thank you so much for joining today's episode 20 of the Best English Podcast. I truly hope this episode has given you the tools and motivation to stop translating and start speaking English with new confidence. If you found this episode helpful, practical, or inspiring, please do me a big favor. Hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps us reach more amazing learners like you across the globe and supports our mission to make English accessible and fun for everyone. And don't forget to subscribe to the Best English Podcast wherever you're listening, whether on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. We release new episodes regularly, and staying consistent with us will naturally help you stay consistent with your English learning. Consistency is truly key to unlocking your success, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Do you have a friend, a family member, or a colleague who struggles with mental translation in English? Perhaps someone who feels slow or awkward when speaking, even if they know a lot of words? Please share this episode with them. Let's help more people break free from the translation trap and unlock their natural English voice. And I would really love to hear from you. After listening to this episode and thinking about your own habits, what's one specific strategy from today's episode that you will try this week to stop translating and start speaking more naturally? Let me know in the comments on YouTube or connect with us on social media. Your commitment inspires me, and your feedback helps us create even better lessons tailored for your needs. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep trying, keep going, and keep practicing. Take it one small, easy step at a time, and believe that every effort you make is actively building your way to speaking English easily and successfully. Keep believing in yourself. You can absolutely do this. Until next time, take good care of yourselves, keep working hard, and I look forward to you listening again very, very soon. You are doing great.